Can everyone see them? Because it's going to be we're going to act a couple of things out, so we got to make sure that everyone can watch them. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So here's the first way in which Jesus talks about resisting. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. Okay, let's get a few contextual details here. In the first century, people had two hands. Okay? Now I see some of you writing that down. First century, two hands. Now, we have the right hand. If you can hold up your right hand. Now, the right hand is a sign of power. The right hand would have been the hand in which you ate with. The right hand was the clean hand. Now, the left hand in the first century, this hand was used to perform certain bodily hygienic functions, if you know what I'm talking about. So you do not eat with your left hand. This is why we still shake with our right hand today, because for a long time, humans did things with the left hand that you wouldn't want to be swapping things back and forth with other people. So you would always shake with the right hand. Now, if we come forward here a little bit, now I'm going to let you be the one that slaps, but he's not going to really do it. Otherwise, we'll have to talk about this later.
Okay, yeah.
Now, if anyone hits you on the right cheek, please show the entire audience what's the right cheek. Okay. Now, you're facing him this way. If you were to hit him on the right cheek, and now remember, you're not going to use your left hand because that's just gross. Like, I don't even know why I'm touching your left hand. You're going to hit him with the right hand. Now, if you're going to punch him with this right hand, how's it going to work if you're going to punch him?
Probably punch him.
It's kind of like an awkward punch. You're going to have to like come around like this, right? Like little side swipe. I mean,
Like a count.
hold on, we're getting there. We're getting there. You're a little ahead of the game here. See, unless you're Chuck Norris, one of those punches just isn't going to work. Which, by the way, I found out last night, 5,268 Chuck Norris jokes and still going. Side note. Okay, so you're not going to really be able to punch him on the right cheek. What you're going to do, if you want to hit him on the right cheek, you're going to have to what? You're going to have to backhand him, right? Now, a backhand, it wasn't meant to injure. A backhand was meant to humiliate. It was meant to insult. You don't backhand someone that you see as your equal. You only backhand someone that you see as your inferior. So maybe a master would have backhanded his slave. A parent might have backhanded a child at this time. You're only going to backhand someone if you see them as someone who's inferior to you. You would never punch someone who's inferior because you'd be claiming that they were your equal. So now you got hit on the right cheek. Now if you were to offer your left cheek, now how are you going to hit him? You're going to now punch him. So what's happening here, this is brilliant. What's happening is Jesus is saying, if someone backhands you, if someone is treating you, humiliating you, insulting you, treating you as inferior, well, now what you do, you offer your left, because what you're doing is you're taking a stand for yourself. And you're asserting your humanity. And you're saying, you know what, I'm not going to take that anymore. That dehumanizing way in which you're treating me, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to accept that. The only way, if you're going to hit me again, you now must hit me as your equal. I mean, this is mind-blowing stuff here. To a humiliated group of people, Jesus is saying, hey, don't let them strip your humanity as well. If someone backhands you, claiming that they're inferior to you, well, offer your left and assert yourself as their. I mean, this is totally calling into question this entire caste system that existed at this time. And it's causing the offender, the puncher, the slapper, the backhander, to now have to reimagine and rethink this whole value system that he's living in. And then Jesus gives a second example. If anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. Okay, so just imagine you have this shirt under your coat. We'll just keep it there, but just pretend it's on. So this is a legal thing at the time. Remember, taxes, first century Israel, like you think your taxes are high in Westchester County? These taxes were even, imagine, double the taxes. Because what's happening here, the taxes are so high, people who had farmland for generations, their farmland, Jewish people who their farmland had been passed down generation after generation after generation, they could no longer afford to own their land. So they had to sell it. And they would sell it to absentee wealthy landowners or landlords who would then rehire the farmer to work their own land. I mean, talk about humiliation. And so imagine there's a debtor. Now, Heiko will be our debtor, and he can't afford to pay his bills. And he owes Jonathan a whole lot of money. So Jonathan, being the greedy, wealthy landowner that he is, he obviously has the means to take Heiko to court because it costs money to take someone to court. Now, again, totally valid, totally legit. This is legal. So he takes him to court, and he says, you owe me money. So you owe me money. And Heiko says, I can't. Actually, I'm sorry. You're going to need this. Yeah. Sorry, it works this way. And so he says, hey, you're going to have to pay me this money. And Heiko says, well, I can't afford it. Now, in the first century, you basically wore two articles of clothing. You had a shirt, kind of like a tunic underneath, and then you had a coat. And so what would happen if Heiko was found to owe Jonathan money and he couldn't pay it, he would give his shirt as collateral. And so they would walk out of court, Jonathan would be holding his shirt, and Heiko would simply have this coat, that he would keep on him, and he would walk out of court totally shamed. Things have gotten so bad that the only thing Heiko owns now is his coat. And he's trying to cover himself up so he doesn't expose himself to other people because all he has at this point is his coat. And so what Jesus says to do is, don't just give him your shirt, give him your coat as well. So if we can take off your coat. If he has two articles of clothing, a shirt and a coat, and he just took both off, what's Heiko wearing out of court? He's totally naked. And what's John wearing out of the courtroom? He has all of his stuff. Think of now, who was being exposed for their cruelty here? The wealthy guy. See, in Jewish culture, it wasn't the naked one who was shamed. It's all of you who were looking at the naked guy. This is why when Noah gets drunk, passes out naked in his tent, it's not Noah who is shamed, it's his sons for viewing him, for looking upon him. So Heiko's not being shamed. It's Jonathan, the wealthy one, who's walking out with all of his clothes, and all of us who are staring and witnessing this shameful proceeding. So what's happening here is, again, Jesus is exposing the cruelty that existed in the first century at this time. He's exposing this wealthy, greedy landowner that he's taking everything from this debtor who can't even afford to pay his bills. Now let's do one more example. We've got to give those back. I'm sorry. Now Jesus says, if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. We'll change this up a little bit. We'll let Heiko be the oppressor for a bit. So, okay, you're the Roman soldier. Put a backpack on. In Israel at this time, Roman military occupation, Roman soldiers would have been everywhere. And Roman soldiers would have carried their backpacks on their backs everywhere they went because I guess in order to be a soldier and do your soldiering things, you have to carry your backpack. Now, the backpack would have weighed about 60 to 80 pounds. So imagine carrying this backpack. Now, do your soldiering march everywhere you go. Roman soldier, there he goes. Now, it was legal at this time for a Roman soldier to see someone just kind of milling about on the side of the road, like Jonathan, and say, hey, you, carry my backpack.
Very good. Carry my backpack.
So Jonathan, Jewish peasant, would be forced to now carry a backpack alongside Heiko. So as he went along, life was good. Poor Jewish peasant 60 to 80 pounds on his back. Now, it was legal, totally acceptable, for Jonathan to carry the bag a mile. It was illegal, against military protocol, to carry it any further than a mile, because that was then considered cruel. I don't know who establishes this stuff. Heiko, being the Roman soldier, would not want his commanding officer to see Jonathan carrying the pack any further than a mile, because then maybe his pay would be docked, there'd be some disciplinary action that would take place. So what Jesus says to do, he tells these Jewish peasants, someone says, carry your bag a mile, well, start carrying it 2 miles. So imagine they've just crossed the mile mark, and John decides he's going to keep walking. So he keeps walking. But Heiko sees this. Who holds the power here now? Imagine this. This is like Laurel and Hardy. This is like the Three Stooges. Imagine a poor Jewish peasant walking down the street with a Roman soldier's backpack, and now the great, mighty Roman soldier is chasing him down the street saying, stop, stop, stop. I mean, this is flipping the script, is it not? It's exposing the cruelty, this whole system, and how was it done? Through generosity. I mean, this is mind-blowing stuff here. If you were listening to Jesus give these examples, you would be like, I mean, your blood would be pumping, like, wow, like this guy's got something here. So let's thank our 2 volunteers this morning. Thank you.